Hi there. I hope anyone who's watching this video is keeping well. Um, these are some very disturbing times in the world, but um, we just have to keep going and breathing and trying to find peace within. I think that's the best way going forward. But it's definitely challenging, that's for sure. Um, but I wanted to make this video just to say that since I made the last video, I actually shared this project with my husband and a couple of good friends. So 3 people I think know about this little project of mine making these videos. I don't think it's gonna make a change in how I'm gonna feel about this. I hope not, because I feel pretty good. But I think I didn't tell anybody about the first number of videos. It was kind of a private project because I wasn't sure, I guess, how people would feel about it, especially my husband. Uh, Privacy is a desirable, I'd say, um, as opposed to sending messages out to the world. But anyway, he was very supportive when I told him about it, and so that was good. And himself and the couple of friends, nothing has come back to me regarding anything, like good, bad, or indifferent. So I think that's good. So we'll just kind of keep going, see how it goes. I've been learning a lot more about this whole pre-diabetes situation, and so I was going to share a couple of insights and things that I've learned both from the program and the Zoom meeting that I've been participating in, and also some research I've done, of course, online. So one of the things, well, I've also been having a little trouble sleeping at night, like waking up in the middle of the night and not being able to go back to sleep. That's been going on for a long time. And so one piece of advice that I learned was to not eat anything sweet after 8 p.m. So I've been trying to abide by that. It's not that hard, really, especially since I can have, in my mind, something sweet during the afternoon, like say after lunch, like say today, like little piece of carrot cake after lunch, which was very nice. But apparently the response that your body makes to eating sugar before you go to bed can disturb your sleep. So I'm trying that. And another thing I learned from my research was taking a walk in the morning first thing before breakfast. So getting up, getting dressed, and going outside for even 10 minutes. I've been going for a short walk up and down our road, our rural road here, for like close to half an hour. And apparently that does a lot of cool things to your body. It's pulling glucose from muscles, I think, something like that. Anyway, the whole insulin, glucose thing that's going on inside your body, it's good if you can do this like little bit of exercise before eating breakfast. So, but not too strenuous, just a gentle walk. So I'm good with that. Yeah, so I've been trying that, and also apparently that can also help your sleep, believe it or not, because the circadian rhythms are affected by the light. So, in other words, in the morning, go outside, experience some daylight, and it helps to reset your circadian rhythm, which then should start to be more in line with sort of the light being, the morning and getting into being active or whatever. And then in the dark at night, then it should relax. That's my very, very basic understanding. So I'm hoping that's going to help with my sleep as well. So it should be interesting to see about that. And another thing I learned was that glucose can actually, the problem that your body has with glucose and insulin can actually affect your kidneys. So I didn't know that. That was concerning. So not my last blood test, but the one before that, which was about a month ago, the kidney result was not as good as it could be, but then I had been sick with a virus prior to that blood test, so the doctor had me come back a month later and redo the test, and the very last blood test, which is the one I just had last week, the kidneys were all back in business. So I was glad to hear about that. But it is a bit of motivation for me in terms of dealing with this sugar issue. If I have an understanding now that actually protects my kidneys as well as, all the other things. So that was interesting to learn about, because you don't want any trouble with your kidneys if you can avoid that. So anyway, the last blood test was good. Everything sort of back to normal. The only thing that is in any way something to watch is just some numbers around whatever it was. Can't remember now. But it has to do more with aging, which what can we do about that? Not much. So, but it's nothing that requires clinical intervention. A friend of mine, ours, shared a recipe that he learned about because he had some digestion issues, and he shared this recipe with me, I don't know, several weeks ago, and I gave it a go, and I did some research about that as well. And so the recipe goes like this. You take like a cup of brown rice, half a cup of chopped walnuts, and a quarter cup of a grain, like I used quinoa. And you put that all together in a bowl and you let that soak overnight. The next morning you rinse it, and then you put it on the stove with water in it, and you simmer it for several hours, like 2 or 3 hours. Then you take that concoction and put it in the refrigerator overnight. And then you can eat it like cold, or you can eat it, you can warm it up and eat it. So what I did is I ate it cold, sort of like a cereal kind of breakfasty thing. And then in the bowl, I put some homemade applesauce that we made with our own apples and no added sugar, some Greek yogurt, what else? Some cinnamon, some blueberries, and then this rice concoction. It made a whole bowl of goodies. So yeah, so I ate that for breakfast, and it felt really good. And I just had it for lunch, and it feels like it just doesn't burden your system much. Anyway, I did some research on that. I also put some few little canned peaches cut up small and put that in there as well. Now, the only thing was, the canned peaches are in syrup, and I can't find any canned peaches in water, so I rinsed them. The ones I was eating, I rinsed them first before they went into the bowl. So, anyway, one day I asked, I think it was Google's AI, about are canned peaches okay for pre-diabetes? And the answer came back, not recommended. So then I told it, I rinsed it, and then it came back and said, well, that's better, but the peaches will absorb the sugar. Even if you rinse it, the sugar gets into, because it sits so long in the can. Then I said, well, I explained then about how I used the peaches along with this rice, walnuts, quinoa concoction, the yogurt, the sugar-free applesauce, and blueberries. And it came back and it said, well, that is a master class in blood sugar management. So I was tickled to hear about that. But of course, we have to remember that AI definitely, well, let's just say it can be overly friendly and make you feel like, you're so wise, aren't you wise? That was such a good question, et cetera, et cetera. So we have to be careful, but it's very easy to feel good about some of the stuff it comes back and tells you. But anyway, it did go on to say about why that combination of food was so good, and why after you eat it and you're digesting it, all those other things like the yogurt and the rice helps to buffer against any kind of digestion spike in blood sugar that the peaches might be participating in. So, and the other thing, which is also interesting, is leaving carbohydrates overnight in the refrigerator before consuming them changes them. I forget what it's called, like, I don't know, restrictive starch, or it's a name like that. That's not exactly it. It passes through your small intestine and goes right to your colon, and that's where it does all the good things, the fiber and the good little bacteria that is healthy for you. And that's because you kept it overnight in the refrigerator. So between all of those things, like the contents of this, what was in this bowl, and the fact that I had left the rice overnight in the fridge, all is working for me. So I thought I'd just share that because I thought that was interesting. I watched an interview with Michael Pollan recently. He's just come out with a new book, so several interviews were popping up in my YouTube feed, and he had some interesting things to say about AI, and one was that he felt that social media was kind of orchestrated, developed in order to grab our attention, but he felt that AI is working more on our consciousness, not just our attention. And I'm not exactly sure what that means, but it's very interesting to think about. So yeah, that's I don't know what's happening with AI or where it's headed, or I mean, I guess we're in for a bunch of changes. But anyway, stay tuned, but be on alert, I think would be wise. Made a couple of other notes here. Oh yeah, the bowl of shamrocks story. Okay, quick story. So this morning, I was taking this morning walk on our rural road, and I decided to ask the nature spirits to protect Ireland in these days because of the situation we're in with wars. And Ireland's part of the Republic of Ireland is part of the EU. So I don't know. It's confusing because Ireland doesn't have any weapons, so to speak, that would really be aggressive in any way. Um, and but other countries that are in the EU obviously do have weapons, and they would be more inclined, I think, to military action of one sort or another. And I don't think the people in Ireland would be so keen on that. Most of the military projects over the last number of years have been Irish soldiers working for UN peacekeeping forces. People seem okay with that idea. But anyway, so that's why I was talking to the nature spirits about, whatever you can do to keep Ireland safe during these months and years to come, I would appreciate. So, but then I decided, well, maybe nobody told the nature spirits about what's been going on. So I gave them a quick overview about the war in the Middle East and, and then I happened to remember that the Prime Minister of Ireland, his name is Micheál Martin, is scheduled to go to the United States, meet with the president at the White House, and deliver a bowl of shamrocks for St. Patrick's Day. So we're in March now. It's March 6th or 7th. And so St. Patrick's Day is around the corner. Given the situation, there are many people in Ireland who feel that Micheál Martin should not be going over there. He feels differently from everything he has said publicly because he wants to keep the relationship open and some goodness happening back and forth. The Irish politicians have been going to the United States for St. Patrick's Day for years, and this shamrock thing in the Oval Office is tradition, and it's been going on a long time, and I don't think he wants to be the prime minister that is the guy that doesn't go. But on the other hand, some people are thinking it's not smart, especially because Ireland is apparently going to be have the presidency of the EU for the next 6 months, I think. I'm not sure how long, but that's coming, and they're getting ready for that. And the relationship between the EU and the government of the United States isn't really a very friendly one at the moment, one could say. So, yeah, there's a lot of concern about all of that. But anyway, so I was telling this to the nature spirits, well, like in my head, but I was assuming they could hear me, explaining the situation with the war and the bowl of shamrocks. So I got this funny idea, and I was pretty sure the nature spirits must have put it in my head. And that was that instead of Micheál going to the White House, they could send, the Irish people could send a leprechaun, like obviously a couple of actors dressed up, one like a leprechaun, kind of a short, stocky fellow, and then also a really tall, beautiful lady who could be like the queen of the fairies. And she would have, beautiful long hair, and, just have a lot of graciousness and sort of like be quite beautiful and attractive. But also being queen of the fairies, I feel that this actor would want to, have that kind of strength. also. But anyway, the two of them go to the White House and they present the president with the bowl of shamrocks. Now, I thought that was a super cute idea because it made everybody happy. Seemed to me like it was funny, and people who could, on one side, could see the irony of it, or also the sort of the joke of it, and then other people would just think it was great, and the media would eat it up, and Miho wouldn't have to go. Anyway, that's my idea. I don't know. I probably can't take credit for it since I feel that the nature spirits actually were the ones who gave me that idea. Anyway, that's the story of the bowl of shamrocks. And one last thing. My husband James has volunteered to let me use some of his photographs of our garden. So I'm going to try to attach those to the back end of this video. And I hope you enjoy those. It's a spring, very early spring happening, but the daffodils are up, the narcissus are up, the crocuses I think they've kind of come and gone already. And yeah, spring is happening, whether we're ready for it or not. Okie dokie. Talk to you again. Please take care. Be good to yourself and those you love. Bye for now.